Good, happy Monday afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. It's June 15, 2020. Let's begin this afternoon broadcast. First up, COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. Let's take a look at that right now. And here's a look at that information for all of you. Right now, there are 5,318 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 2,093,448 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 320 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 513 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 115,730 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. Let's take a look at this current map of New Hampshire right here, where current cases of COVID-19 are in New Hampshire. Pittsburgh, 1 to 4 cases. Let's take a look at this current map of New Hampshire, total cases of COVID-19 in New Hampshire. Pittsburgh, 1 to 4 cases. And now let's take a look at these three charts here. Let's start with the first chart. Let's start with new cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases, in the orange, new hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here, current cases in the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. Let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases in the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases, in the orange, total hospitalizations, in the red deaths, and in the blue recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here, age group of cases, female and male of cases, and risk information. And let's take a look at this chart here, infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here, deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And again, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. New Hampshire restaurants, they open for indoor dining today. And we want to know, will you be doing indoor dining, or are you still nervous to try indoor dining again? Comment below and let us know. We want to hear from you. So today, indoor dining for New Hampshire restaurants finally resumes. Concord School District forms committee to combat racism. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Veltate's Building Supply is here to help build a better summer at your home. From building materials to all types of tools, paint, and everything else you need to make home improvements a snap. Shop online at veltates.com. Visit one of our 9 locations or place your order via phone or email.
Last weekend, this estimated crowd of 1,000 people peacefully marched in Concord calling for racial equality. Some of the organizers were high school students.
It was really interesting to hear other people's stories and have so much support and love be spread everywhere.
In a letter to the Concord school community, the district praised their activism, saying change comes from young people.
All of us seeing ourselves as part of a larger solution, it is a better way to look at this.
The district has also formed a committee. First meeting last week, 20 people with diverse backgrounds to talk about discrimination in schools and how best to deal with it.
It's oftentimes subtle It's not meant in a mean or derogatory way, but because it has been allowed to go on so long, or that's the culture they've grown up with, that's what happens.
By sharing experiences, speaking up when someone feels marginalized, and helping others to understand words matter, school leaders say they have a responsibility to listen and act.
The way that we do things better is by creating and adopting policies that will actually change our culture, that will actually change how we treat each other within the district.
This committee is a starting point in what advocates say will be a continuous conversation for years to come.
I think that having teachers of color, staff of color, having cultural education be implemented at a very young age.
We cannot just stop people from being racist. We need to intentionally work to dismantle these racist institutions.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Fish and Game officer released from the hospital after being struck by OHRV. Conservation officer Matt Holmes was seriously injured. Will recover at home. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Beltate's Building Supply is here to help build a better summer at your home. From building materials to all types of tools, paint, and everything else you need to make home improvements a snap. Shop online at beltates.com. Visit one of our 9 locations or place your order via phone or email.
Conservation Officer Matthew Holmes is expected to make a full recovery. He was pursuing 2 speeding off-road vehicles on Dummer Pond Road Saturday when a third crashed into him from behind, going over 60 miles per hour.
That's a high-speed impact on a stock vehicle. That's the equivalent of being hit with a small compact car on an open ATV, which immediately amounts to an injection.
Holmes was sent flying off of his vehicle, knocked unconscious. Colonel Kevin Jordan says some Gilmanton firefighters happened to be riding on the trail and helped another conservation officer on scene. Holmes was transported to Androscoggin Valley Hospital and later taken to Central Maine Medical Center. Colonel Jordan was able to visit with him late Saturday night.
He's got a lot of injuries. And some serious, he's got some broken bones, but he is expected to make a full recovery. His spirits were good, and it was incredible to see him, able to converse and be his old self.
Holmes, a husband and father of 2, has been assigned to Coos County for about 15 years now and has been featured on Animal Planet's Northwoods Law. Production was filming when the entire ordeal happened.
Okay, and there you go on that video and the report. Stocks loses, NASDAQ turns positive as Facebook and Netflix rise. Stocks dropped on Monday as investors grappled with signs of a second wave of coronavirus cases as the U.S. economy reopens. Supreme Court rules LGBTQ employees protected from job discrimination. The Supreme Court ruled Monday that a landmark civil rights law protects LGBTQ people from discrimination in employment, a resounding victory for LGBTQ rights from a conservative court. And the court decided by a 6-3 vote. And that does it for this afternoon newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching the Riley King newscast. I hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon and see you back here later on today for another broadcast. Goodbye, everyone.